the Defence Force have acted in a misleading way.
Question number 9, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he agree with former Prime Minister John Key that a meaningful tax cut would cost, quote, $3 billion, I reckon, end quote, and is this a higher priority for him in the upcoming budget than restarting contributions to the New Zealand Super Fund?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I agree with the former Prime Minister that that amount would certainly represent a meaningful tax cut, but I also think that a $1 billion package or a $1.5 or a $2 billion package, depending on how it was targeted and over what time period, might also represent a meaningful tax cut. In terms of priorities for Budget 2017, I've publicly set these out and hopefully will do so for the member again. Firstly, delivering better public services for a growing country. Secondly, building the infrastructure we need in a modern economy. Third, paying down debt as a percentage of GDP with a target of achieving 20% of GDP by 2020-2021, at which time we'd restart contributions to the Super Fund. And finally, we remain committed to reducing the tax burden and in particular the impact of marginal tax rates on lower and middle income earners when we have the room to do so.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Was John Key correct when he said that a $1 billion tax cut package would only give average earners $7 or $8 a week and was not a meaningful tax cut?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I see what the member is trying to do, but I do not propose to design the 2017 budget on the floor of the House today.
Be patient. Be patient.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
If he is going to spend $3 billion on tax cuts, what essential social spending programs will not be funded to afford those cuts?
The
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
The budget is coming. I do believe we intend to have the House receive the budget on May the 25th of this year. Not too many more sleeps left yet, Mr Robertson, and all these questions will be answered at that time.
You're going to enjoy the next few weeks. Supplementary, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Does he think that Adrian Orr, Chief Executive of the Super Fund, was referring to him yesterday when he said, quote, recent public comments illustrate that many people don't understand what the New Zealand Super Fund is and what it does, end quote, given his reluctance to restart contributions to the fund?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, Mr Orr would have to speak to who he was referring to, but I actually read that and thought he was referring to Mr Robertson.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Was the Super Fund wrong to describe comments such as his, that it is wrong to save for the future when there is debt to be repaid, by describing those comments as misleading? Or will he now admit that it is just his ideological addiction to tax cuts that is putting restarting contributions to the Super Fund last in his priorities?
The Honourable Stephen
Mr
Joyce.
Speaker, in terms of the member's apparent quotation of my comments, he's incorrect. But actually I would say to him that it is important to think of the incomes of people today as well as the incomes of people in the future. And the member and his party often come down to the House and talk about the spending pressures on low and middle income earners or housing costs for people. And actually their incomes are very, very important when you're considering those matters. So the member may say he doesn't care, but I certainly do.
Question number 10, Sarah Dowie.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. My question